I was born in Wisconsin, grew up in Wisconsin, and then came here as a student, just like you guys. Left here in 1970 and went back to Wisconsin. It's very single at the time. I taught in a little country public high school in Wisconsin for 2 years. Went to graduate school at Arizona State University. That's when I got married. We were there for 4 years. I taught in a city high school in Phoenix and then came back here. I've traveled quite a bit because, for a lot of reasons, I'm asked to speak hither and yon, and in addition to that, sometimes people ask me to write books. So I wrote a book for a broadcast agency, and they sent me to Brazil and Japan and around the nation in order to do stories on people who were affected by that broadcast ministry. Well, I suppose there was one time when I was a college student that I remember very well. Having gone to an American literature class, I wasn't interested necessarily in literature and things like that, but I went to a literature class, and I remember where I was exactly on the sidewalk and saying to myself, you know, I really like this. And then saying to myself, you know, I think I would like to be a teacher someday, and I would like to teach English, teach literature. And I remember exactly where that was. So then, for the next couple years, while I was a student here, I started getting more interested in writing, which I wasn't when I came here. And then I determined that I'd like to teach, and then I would like to write too. Well, that's a hard question. Generally, the classes that I like best are the ones in which I get along with the students the best. And not all classes are like that way. I mean, I don't think I change from class to class, but sometimes you get classes in which the students don't like to talk, or they don't care about the material and stuff, and then you don't. Now, with your class, in 160 last semester, I think I had a really good relationship with you, and it was fun. And then it's a joy to teach. Well, I'm honored that you'd even ask that I could be a hip teacher. I don't think I've ever been a pretentious teacher. I think I've always thought, well, what you see is what you get. If this is the way I talk, and tough luck, And I think that's been true of me throughout. I think there were times that I cared more for jots and tittles. I cared more for little things, and I don't think that's definitely a way in which I'm more laid back, like I said before. I think it's fair to say, with respect to my being in my last 2 years and so forth, that teaching is, for me, when it's good, it's still very good, and I really like it. I'm not quitting because I don't enjoy teaching, and I've enjoyed teaching throughout my life. So that's all a good thing. But you've heard me say this, Jeff, I think, in my 180 class as to the difference between myself and 19-year-old, 20-year-old kids is just so broad now. For instance, I had them each write something about a soliloquy of Hamlet. It never dawned on me that some of those students wouldn't know what a soliloquy was. Everybody knows what a soliloquy is. Well, they don't, So the gap between myself and the students, I had 20-year-old students when I was 29 when I was here, and now I'm 63. So that gap just gets bigger every year, and that gets a little difficult. On the other hand, I still think most students, I don't know, maybe they think I'm crazy, but I think most students sort of like me, and I like them, and that makes for good things, I think, in the classroom.